U.S. stocks flat as a pancake right now. We have a stack of earnings this week. Walmart highlighting today, Thursday. They did pretty well. Now we also have people ditching treasuries as well. So Matt, what do you think this says about the U.S. economy?
Well, I think what it says is that portfolio managers are chasing a bit of a return right now. Treasuries, it sold off pretty aggressively earlier in the year. You had your chance to maybe sell bonds then. You saw this rotation now out of bonds into stocks at the end of the year. And why are they doing that? They're chasing the returns based on the earnings that we saw, I think. We had good earnings in the last 2 days from Disney and Walmart, two stellar performers in the Dow. That's kept all of the other noise that we've had out there, whether it be impeachment, whether it be Powell, that's kept it on the sidelines, and the market has been relatively flat despite some of the other contradictory things.
Yes, it did, Matt. Now, speaking about those portfolio managers and fund managers, they're growing enormously bearish on the U.S. dollar going into 2020, and they have higher bets on the pound. Why do you think that?
Well, I mean, Brexit's got to come to some kind of a solution here, and I think that the bet for so long is that there was going to be a lot more confusion in that. Maybe that is why they're going to say, you know what, we're going to bet on that play as the dollar maybe won't appreciate as much as the pound. I'm not a currency guy as a whole, but I'm more of a contrarian in thought. And maybe that's why they're betting not so much on the pound, but maybe against the dollar.
Yeah, that's why I asked you, Matt. We like having your contrarian views, of course, and they make for some stellar trades sometimes. So let me ask you this. Margin debt at the New York Stock Exchange has deviated from the S&P 500 ever since the beginning of the year. Why do you think that's happening?
Again, that's, really out of my ballpark, as a whole. But money's been so easy in this environment for so long. I think, we've relied on that so much. So I don't know if you need to trade on that kind of size. We've seen the ETFs become such a proliferation of a trading vehicle. We've seen day trading take a huge step forward in that regard. So if you want to play this market, you may not need margin. You may play it just for the day, re-enter the next day, and it's very easy to do that in a broad way by investing in maybe the ETF space.
Any ETFs that you like?
Again, that's, I'm more of a single stock, what we trade down here. But if you're an ETF player, there's certainly sector rotations that you see within the market. People are talking about the transports. Maybe if they can break out here and take us to a new high, that might be something. The banks were strong for a significant period of time over the last couple of weeks. Now we get into retail season. So if you're thinking that retail could spark this market, based on what Walmart just came out with, and if that can be an overall boon, maybe you want to start looking at maybe a retail ETF. You encompass all of them, and maybe you don't get hurt by some of the historic retailers, the brick and mortar retailers, and you can get the benefit of both the Amazon, the Walmart, and maybe insulate yourself against some of the other ones.
And we will hear from those brick and mortar retailers that you mentioned next week. That's going to be some interesting conversation.
Yeah, especially with the holiday season. So, they're going to be front and center because all the other earnings, as you mentioned, are done. So when they come out, people are going to look forward to see what they say about the holiday season. It's not so much what they did last quarter. That's just, that's after back to school and before holidays. That may not matter so much. What are they saying for December?
Yeah, we are at the retail end of earnings season, if you will. Matt, have a great weekend. Nice to have you back.
Thanks, Foz. You too.
That's Matt Cheslock from Virtu Financial here on a Thursday at the New York Stock Exchange.